Well, you might think I'm nuts, but I think there's something more to the chemtrails than meets the eye. It is by all those who study chemtrails looking into it regarding weather modification. Well, we are all on the right track because it has something to do with the modification. They need to change the atmosphere. And you might think I'm nuts, but I don't think I'm so far-fetched. I think they need to change the atmosphere to accommodate the arrival of another entity that is going to take over this world. And it might just pretty much look like what we see in big blockbuster movies such as Independence Day and so on. So they need to change the atmosphere, and while they're doing that, they will have to change the crops, the genetic setup of our crops, because our natural crops would not be able to withstand this poisoning for the changing of our atmosphere and our soil and our drinking water. So even though that we are running around saying, well, we should eat organic and only buy organic food, well, I think it shoots itself in the foot, because the chemtrails are acidifying the soil, and it's acidifying the water from the top down. So it doesn't really matter that we are going out and paying high price for organic food, because we are getting these metals from the soil through the drinking water or through rainwater. So there's nothing we can really do to get around the poisoning of our system from the top down, and that's really from the top down. Back in the days of Noah, before the days of Noah, our sky was pink, it was not blue. We had a completely different setup of atmospheric air, and at that point in time we had more oxygen in our atmosphere than we have today. Today we are should be around 13, but that number has significantly dropped. We're talking about 9% on average, and in big cities we can get all the way down to 6% oxygen, and that's very detrimental to the health of the human system, the human body, because the lesser oxygen we get, the faster we are actually decaying. The more oxygen we have, the more strong we grow. We also get a little taller, and we're living longer. So it's not looking too good. And that's really what I honestly believe. I know there's a military application to the chemtrails, that they would like to conduct a war against an enemy without having to fire a shot. But it all comes down to the same, and that is they are expecting the arrival of another entity that they are working for, which they're slaves to, with the promise of immortality. So with this promise of being like gods and being immortal, that makes them able to care less about us. To them, we are extinct. To them, AI, artificial intelligence, is the future. And that fits pretty good with the guidestones of Georgia, that we should maintain the human population at 500 million, and the rest must die. And that's really what the aim is. So we will be easier to manage. But this orchestration to get to that goal is not coming from man. It is coming from an entity which in scriptures are called fallen angels. It's not the Nephilims. The Nephilims are the disembodied souls or entities which is here on Earth. They're not out there in spaceships and stuff like that. The fallen angels, they're out there. And I strongly believe that the fallen angels have the moon as a base and near front line. And it might sound crazy to you, but there's more to our planet called Saturn that meets the eye. You see, the rings of Saturn is emitting sound. The rings of Saturn is not dust and ice particles. It's crystals. And what perfect media would you want to use if you want to emit a frequency, which will be crystals? And I believe that signals are being sent out through our space, and it's received and amplified on the moon. That might sound far-fetched, but that's what I believe. I know that the moon is hollow, and that's quite impossible. If you look at planet Earth, it's not hollow. Maybe it is, but the moon is definitely hollow. And if it is hollow, it can easily occupy a large swath of fallen angels or an entity that is not friendly. I will have to say to you that there will be a coming of an entity. Some of it might be faked by holograms, which also is a part of the chemtrailing. But there will be a coming of an entity, and they will take over this world, and those who are, believing that they will be gods and they will be immortal will come to learn that they too have been lied to, that that promise that they've been given is not going to be fulfilled. They're going to be subjects to this entity. And another thing is, what we really are going to have to deal with, that is, that this entity, let's just call them entity, they're going to eat us, use us as food, and I mean literally eat us. So it fits very well with what Hollywood is putting out on the big screen of so-called science fiction movies of alien invasions, and it's been up through the ages in pretty much all so-called alien movies except E.T. and Starman, that this entity is hostile. This entity is here to destroy us, to take us over, to literally kill our planet with us. So that's really what I believe that the chemtrails are for. But there's also something else to the chemtrails, that is, at this moment in time, Earth is receiving over 720 nanometers of UVC light. UVC light is extremely harmful. Our ozone layer is being depleted because of the chemtrails. our magnetosphere is weakening and letting in more cosmic rays, and also letting in UVC light from the sun, which ruins our eyesight, which is carcinogenic, meaning it's cancerous, meaning we will get skin cancer from it, and we have an explosion of skin cancer worldwide, and that's because of the UVC light. Our atmosphere is no longer capable to filter the UVC light from the sun, and that bites itself in the end, because we could create ozone and repair our own ozone layer by the help of creating artificial lightning. We could have, and that sounds weird to you, but we could actually have balloon on tethers with a Tesla coil that will produce, meaning these balloons will be up in a higher atmosphere, very high up. We got plenty of room to do it in. We got all the big deserts where we could place those, and they will not be in the way of anybody, and will not, you know, be an eyesore to anything, but be a help to recreate our ozone layer. Lightning, when we have thunderstorms, are creating ozone. That is that distinct smell you have in the atmosphere. That's the ozone. You can smell it. And by that, we could replenish our ozone layer. We could also replenish our ozone layer and help with it by administer more oxygen up in the upper atmosphere. And by that, we could actually filter out the UVC light. But with the chemtrails, which is being used to terraform our planet, and I mean terraform our planet, I'm telling you people, this planet is being changed, and we are going to be the victims of this. We're gonna die because of that, because we are extinct to them. So, because of the oxygen and ozone depleting properties of the chemtrails, and trying to keep out the UVC light, these people that is behind this big program are bound to continue to spray. They can't stop. If they stop spraying, our entire system, our ecosystem will break down, and then chaos will ensue, death will ensue, and they who think they are gods, you know who they are, the Bilderbergers, well, they will come to realize that they can't control status quo anymore, because people are not going to listen. So that's really what I believe what's going on. They're changing our entire ecosystem to accommodate the arrival of an entity which is coming to destroy us. Over and out.